This is 5 reasons why life in America feels like it has no future, and 5 reasons to find the American dream by living abroad and expatriating yourself. So I'm living in Da Nang, Vietnam. I'm retired early because of it, and I love it. And I know that back home, every week it feels harder and harder to make it in America. The math just doesn't add up. Housing, healthcare, debt, inflation, the American dream, the idea that work gives you freedom and security is slipping away for most of us. But the good news is the dream isn't completely dead. It's just moved abroad to enjoy better weather and a more affordable cost of living. So today we're going to look at the 5 reasons why life in America right now offers no future for most of us, and another 5 reasons why you can actually build that dream of affordability, safety, and even maybe a bit of luxury, definitely a middle-class lifestyle living abroad. So number 5, housing costs have essentially broken the middle class in America. The median home price in the United States is over $420,000, and the mortgage rate is hovering close to 7% interest. Even renters feel trapped with median monthly rent above $2,000. In states like Florida, condo fees and insurance have spiraled so badly that once affordable apartments are bleeding their owners dry. Cape Coral home values have already dropped 11% in 2 years, and sales are stalling nationwide. That's the same pattern that preceded the 2008 crash and the financial collapse, the original reason I moved abroad. And this is a mirror of what happened before I left for that first time and moved to Mexico 15 years ago. So when housing starts to eat half of your income, you just can't save, you can't invest. I mean, you often feel like you can't breathe or survive. And that's ultimately not sustainable, and it's definitely not freedom. That's why you need to get out and basically live free or die trying. So number 4, healthcare is a financial landmine in the United States today. Back when boomers were in their prime, health insurance was practically pocket change. Like in 1970, a family premium was a few $100 a year, about $3,000 in today's money. Totally manageable. Fast forward to 2024, the average family premium is over $25,000. That's an 8-fold jump, and it spiked another 7% in just the last year alone. Since 2013, when I turned 30, it's up nearly 50%. How can anyone in our generation actually pay for these monthly costs and still afford to live? Boomers never faced this type of squeeze. Families that spent maybe 5% of their income on healthcare back in the day, today it's closer to 20% of your income. But wages have barely moved in real terms. Health insurance isn't a benefit anymore, it's essentially a second mortgage. It's a debt. You owe it for life. And here's the real kicker. Even if you're insured, you're not safe. Deductibles run $8,000 before coverage kicks in. One ER visit can literally wipe out your savings. One tough diagnosis could bankrupt you and your family. The result of all this bad policy is that over 100 million Americans carry medical debt today. It is the leading cause of personal bankruptcy in the country. And boomers just didn't have to weigh whether fixing a broken arm meant losing their retirement fund, but we do. The so-called safety net has turned into a bill collector with a clipboard, and unlike eggs or gas, you can't just skip it. You pay or you gamble with your health and your family and your future. Number 3, in real terms, wages are flat. Inflation absolutely eats the rest. Groceries and the grocery bills are eating people alive. I'm sure you've seen the videos. Prices are up 25% since 2019, and that's the official number. Walk into a supermarket and it feels worse. A gallon of milk, a carton of eggs, staples that used to be boring background line items are now things you actually have to budget and worry for. Rent, double-digit increases in almost every major metro area in the United States. Year after year, the essentials, food, shelter are inflating faster than paychecks can keep up. That means we're struggling to pay for even the basic level of survival on Maslow's hierarchy today in the United States. This is why you hear people talking about, is America third world? Are people in poverty? Paychecks don't bring people relief anymore. That's the cruel part. Adjusted for inflation, real wages have barely budged in decades. Your dad or your grandfather could support a family of 4 on one income. Today, 2 incomes barely allows you to tread water. Americans are working harder, longer, and smarter, but they're getting less for it. Before I left 6 years ago, I was teaching, I was bartending at night, and I was doing Uber deliveries on the weekends on my bicycle. And here's the kicker. I wasn't saving anything before I moved to Southeast Asia. I was broke. I was just keeping my head above water. So what's the Band-Aid? Credit cards? Plastic debt is the new safety net. But with interest rates at 22 to 24%, they're actually a death trap. You swipe to buy milk and you're still paying it off 6 months later. You miss a paycheck, you miss a shift, you miss anything, and suddenly that trap snares you. The logic is brutal. If your paycheck buys less every year, you don't have a future. You have a countdown, a ticking clock where each month costs more, savings stretch thinner, and debt piles up. That's not progress, that's a slow motion collapse. And unless you step outside of this system altogether, the system is built to bleed you dry. Paying off my debt was the hardest thing I ever did, and it took me nearly a decade. But it was also my first step to getting off of the hamster wheel and getting outside of the matrix. Retirement is a total mirage for most people. It is an oasis. Fidelity recommends 1.7 million in savings for a comfortable retirement. That's insane. The average 50-year-old has less than 200K saved. And that's not a joke. And I'm not laughing because net worth is no better than average. Because my net worth is no better than average. I just cut my costs 60 to 70% by living abroad and saved myself a whole lot of pain and years of stress. Social Security's trust fund is projected to be depleted entirely by 2034 with automatic benefit cuts if nothing changes. Meanwhile, pensions are drying up, 401ks fluctuate with Wall Street, and housing equity isn't the safe nest egg it once was for our parents' generation. Meaning, if you can't count on housing like all the baby boomers, and you can't count on Social Security, and you can't count on Wall Street, retirement isn't a future plan. It's a gamble that's not worth 20 years of life. It's not worth waiting to see if it pays off down the road. It feels like a slow motion dice roll that you're gonna live your whole life waiting to see if it actually hits. So this brings us to number 1, the political paralysis, debt, and decline of the United States. But don't worry, you and I are not the problem. Trust me, the rot is systemic and it's buried in bad economic policy. Decades of it. The US runs nearly $2 trillion in deficit every year. Net interest payments on the national debt now rival the defense budget. Political gridlock makes reforms unlikely, while debt ceilings and shutdowns threats scare investors and weaken trust. And at the same time, schools, transit, and infrastructure feel underfunded compared to peer countries. Places like Norway, even Canada or Australia have better services. The American system isn't fixing itself, and the costs are getting passed down to you. When the whole big picture macro system is this broken, hoping your personal budget will somehow survive just doesn't make sense. There's no point in blaming yourself when you're a small cog in a big system. So if that's the reality at home, where do you go? The truth is, the American dream of a comfortable middle-class lifestyle isn't dead yet. It's just cheaper, safer, and more affordable and attainable in other parts of the world. So instead of just crying wolf for the rest of our lives, let's talk exit strategies and look at 5 realistic ways you can escape the cost of living crisis in the United States and the West to live a better, more affordable life overseas as an expat like me. So positive number 5, housing abroad is actually still affordable in a lot of places. This is the biggest move you can make that results in instant savings. I left a $3,200 apartment in Toronto, and before that, a $2,400 a month place in Brooklyn. My first 2-story, 1-bedroom in Saigon, Vietnam, a little over $400 a month. And no, that is not a typo. There are still better deals all around the globe if you make the move to live abroad. In Portugal, for example, average rents in Lisbon are around 1,200 euros for a family apartment, half of what I was paying in New York for a 2-bedroom with a roommate. In Uruguay, modern condos rent $600 to $900 a month. In Da Nang, Vietnam, right outside my window here where I live, you can get a new 3-bedroom house for $500 to $700 a month. In Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, high-rise family apartments in great areas with incredible amenities are still under $1,000 a month. Bangkok is close to the same, maybe 5 or 10% more. And when you escape the West, housing isn't just cheaper, it's often modern, walkable, safe. What costs you half your salary in the United States costs you a third or less abroad. And that opens up the breathing room to actually start living out your dreams and planning for the future. Positive number 4. Healthcare is world-class now in the rest of the world, and it's a fraction of the cost as it is back home. Bumrungrad International Hospital in Bangkok, it's JCI accredited, everyone speaks English, and it's world recognized. Thailand overall offers top-tier orthopedic and cosmetic surgery at up to 70% lower cost than in the West. My knee surgery in Saigon at Franco-Viet Hospital was just $1,300, and half of that was covered by my insurance, so I only paid $650. And by the way, if you're considering a slow travel or digital nomad lifestyle, you can use my affiliate link below to sign up for Safety Wing Nomad Insurance, which you can use on your scouting trip or first year abroad. And they offer monthly coverage to keep you safe while living and traveling. It starts at around $50 a month, so it's very affordable. And if you're in places like Malaysia, there are great hospitals from Glen Eagles and Penang Adventist, which are also JCI accredited. These are the kind of places that are just widely used by international patients, expats, and everyone speaking English. In Europe, Portugal blends a strong public system with affordable private care. Expats and locals access low-cost doctor visits, sometimes as little as 5 to 20 euros a pop, and private clinics offer faster English-speaking services. In Japan, very appealing now with the weaker yen, universal insurance covers roughly 70% of medical fees, capping out of pocket at about 30%. Despite that, patients enjoy excellent access and regulated high-quality care. The logic? Healthcare becomes a predictable line budget, not a financial bombshell that's going to give you a heart attack. When medical costs are transparent and affordable, you can actually plan your life without fearing financial collapse every time you or a loved one needs medical care. Number 3, cost of living. This is just like giving yourself an automatic raise. So Numio data shows Japan is now 40% cheaper cost of living wise to the United States due to that weak yen. Portugal in Europe is 35% cheaper. Uruguay is 40% cheaper. Thailand is still 50 to 60% cheaper. Vietnam, my home, is 70% cheaper. Even if you earn a modest US income abroad, remote work, freelancing, or just a steady pension, your savings rate can jump 30 to 40% without cutting a single corner. Even retirees living on Social Security can have a comfortable, full life in Southeast Asia. And if you want the playbook on how I actually pulled it off when I moved here permanently in July 2019, just check out my Move to Vietnam Masterclass. It's linked in the description below. In that course, which just takes about 60 minutes, it'll walk you through banking, housing, and getting your feet on the ground as you set up step by step for your first 30 to 180 days here. Watch it now. Or if you're curious about the entire region, you can grab the first month of my Cost of Living Abroad membership for the exact same price, and it gives you instant access to every guide and my full How to Live Abroad in Southeast Asia course, which you can download right now at costoflivingabroad.com or sign up for the newsletter /newsletter. Number 2, quality of life upgrades. These are just real. Safety, community, lifestyle, food, healthy vegetables. I mean, come on. Portugal ranks as one of the safest countries in the world. Uruguay is known for political stability and progressive policies. Japan combines modern infrastructure with social safety nets. Southeast Asia offers warm weather, friendly locals, amazing culture, affordable food, and thriving expat scenes and communities that are just growing every single year. Families abroad, like my wife and I with our 2 kids, report lower stress, better school options, and more daily joy. Why? Because there's less crime, there's less money stress, and we just have a healthier lifestyle for less money. Isn't that what the American dream was supposed to be? About a comfortable middle-class life for a family on a single or dual income? Number 1, your retirement dreams can actually become real and attainable again. Retiring in the United States supposedly requires $1.7 million. Just not real for most of us. And for many of you, it probably feels impossible. Retiring in Vietnam or Thailand, $200,000 to $500,000 can cover a comfortable lifestyle for the next 20 or 30 years. You know, in Malaysia and Portugal and Uruguay, all of these places, $25,000 to $30,000 a year is going to give you a great middle-class lifestyle with healthcare, with safety, you know, with culture. Even in Japan, where the yen has been weakened, it's surprisingly affordable for Americans to relocate today. And if you're living abroad, retirement isn't a pipe dream. It's simple math that works. You cut your burn rate, you save more, and you retire sooner. Here is the harsh reality summed up. Life in America is just getting harder and more expensive. Maybe not forever, but for right now. Housing, healthcare, debt, retirement, politics, all trending the wrong way. But abroad, housing can be cheaper, healthcare can be accessible, and your income can stretch further. It's not free, but life is safe, it's less stressful, and your retirement dreams are possible again. The American dream didn't die. It just moved to the rest of the world. It spread itself out, and now it's abroad. So if you're ready to explore what that looks like, as mentioned before, check out my Move to Vietnam Masterclass, which is linked below, or learn more at costoflivingabroad.com/newsletter. If you're just curious about Vietnam, watch this video on my lifestyle here over my left shoulder, or if you want to know more about Thailand, Malaysia, and all these other great options for retirement in Southeast Asia at lower cost, watch this video here. I'm Evan A. Keep watching.